What's up everybody, Jared here with carbuzz.com, and today I'm going to tell you everything that you need to know about the all-new 2022 Lexus LX. This is our one-take deep dive style, so if you want to know a little bit more about how the NX drives, fuel economy, stuff like that, be sure to check out our other video. But now let's get into the NX, which is all new for the 2022 model year. This was one of the older vehicles in the compact luxury segment, so Lexus needed to do a big refresh here. The exterior design, not totally different from the outgoing model. We still have this massive spindle grille, which I know a lot of you in the comments aren't a big fan of. I'm not a huge fan of this one either on this regular 350h hybrid that we're driving. You can get the F Sport version of the NX, which I think makes the grille look a little bit better. Go ahead and Google that real quick, NX F Sport. I think it looks a little bit better, but the headlights are nice. We have this really cool angular design that Lexus has been doing for quite a while now. The one thing that I'm not fond of with the NX that carries over from the last model is it kind of reminds me of Dory, like really narrow, like really vertical this way. It's just very squished in like this. They've maybe given it a little bit more of a chubby cheek look here on this new model to kind of get rid of that a little bit, but it's still a little bit awkward in my design. Not an ugly looking vehicle, just not that exciting, especially not in this gray color that we have. Lexus has some amazing color options on here. There's one called Grecian Water. It's this really cool blue. There's red line, there's cadmium orange, nori green pearl. Good colors, but we didn't get one here. We did get the 20-inch wheels though on this NX 350h that are a little bit nicer than the standard ones, although we do have some kind of cheap looking plastic around on the fenders here. I'm not a huge fan of that. Here on the side, I gotta talk about these door handles. They're not normal door handles, like you can't pull it. You see I can go and it won't move anywhere. There's actually a button on the underside, just click that and it'll open. And we'll talk a little bit more about the door handles on the inside as well, because those are also kind of weird. Now let's move to the rear styling, where there are some unique changes to talk about here. I like this taillight bar that's connected that runs across the length of the vehicle here. That's quite nice. We've got our NX 350h badging here. This is an all-wheel drive vehicle. If you get the NX 350h, you get all-wheel drive as standard. Not every version of the NX has standard all-wheel drive though. And you may notice that it says Lexus spelled out here on the tailgate. That is new for Lexus. They're trying this out on a bunch of their vehicles. Genesis actually is doing the same thing. I'm not used to seeing it spelled out like that just yet. Let me know in the comments if you like how Lexus is spelled out like that, because I kind of preferred just having the L on the back. You still get the L on the front. Then we have a power lift gate, which is actually optional even after you spend a lot of money optioning up this car. The cargo space is actually not that great. I mean, it's fine. Like you can see all of my stuff fits in it. But if you compare it to other vehicles at this price level, it's actually a little bit small with just around 27 cubic feet of space, I think. And it's about 47 if you fold it down. Again, that's small for this segment. The one thing I do like though is this cargo cover. You can see it's very light, it's very small, so you can take it out quite easily. A lot of these are just overly big and a pain in the butt. This one, see, folds in half quite easily. It's very light and easy to take out. I hate when these are like needlessly big, and this does squeeze into the underfloor storage quite easily. So you go ahead and lift this up and it should go under there somehow. I'm putting it in backwards, that's why. But I'm telling you, this is actually pretty good. It locks into place right there, nice and easily. Now I do have to show you this really cool function. We've got these buttons over here. Let's see if we can get a close up on these. So these drop down those rear seats. So I'm gonna go ahead and push the down function so you can see it's gonna unlatch right there. Then it's going to fold down. But notice they didn't just drop down. They dropped down via power. And now if I click the other way, they'll actually raise up via power. That's really interesting. You see that a lot on third rows of these larger SUVs, but not so much on smaller vehicles like this. But that is about $1,000 optional extra. So now let's go check out those back seats from the other side. We have a decent amount of room back here. They have made the NX larger for the 2022 model year. They made it longer, so we have a little bit more leg room back here, but I wouldn't call it massive. You can recline a little bit manually here using those manual controls here on the seat. We do have our own air vents. We have heated seats down here, and we have some USB chargers here in the center console. So if you want to charge up your devices, those are actually USB-Cs, so they should fast charge. And I want to talk about these door handles here. So this is the door handle. It's electric, so you just push it like that to open up the door. I'm going to go ahead and take first person view so you can kind of see this. So I'm going to close the door. Here's how you would get out. You just click this button and go ahead and open it. Now you might be wondering, well, what happens if my battery dies or this just doesn't work? You can actually pull it and then pull it again, and now it'll be like a manual latch. And the other really cool thing that my camera guy and I tested on this was that if you have like a bicyclist or another car that's about to come really close to you in traffic, this will actually warn you not to open the door, and you'll click it and it just won't open. So Lexus kind of touts that as sort of a safety function. So now that I already have first person view, let's go ahead and check out the front seat of the NX, where we've got an upgraded luxury package. It's about $7 grand. So we have these nicer seats. I'm a big fan of this color that they sent me here, where it's black, white, and then you've got some orange stitching, giving it a little bit of a sporty touch. I like these seats a lot. I also like how it's kind of like this V stitching here in the middle. These seats are heated and ventilated as well, which is quite nice. We also have the Mark Levinson upgraded audio, which sounds great. We also have this kind of faux wood finish. I think that looks quite nice as well. Some of the materials aren't the nicest that I've seen in this segment, but the cabin overall is pretty nice. So let's go ahead and step on in. We've got our power button up here. Let's go wide angle so you can kind of see more of this interior as everything fires up. Okay, so the first thing you're probably going to notice is this massive 14-inch touchscreen. This is optional. The base system is, I think, 9.8 inches, which is still pretty big, but this 14-incher is massive. Now, most of the controls, if not all of them, are touch. So there are very few physical controls, but there are some physical controls making this very easy. So as you can see, we have our temperature dials, which are kind of glued onto the screen and kind of a part of the screen. We still have a volume knob, which is nice, and we have our front and rear defrosters. And the thing that I like about this massive screen is that you see our climate controls are always there for us down at the bottom. I can up the fan speed, I can lower the fan speed, I can change the temperatures quick, I can change where the fans are coming to. I've got my heated and ventilated seat controls, my heated steering wheel, all right there all the time, very easy. I just got out of the Volkswagen GTI a few weeks ago, and it did not have this good of a system where the climate was kind of always there for you. So this is a huge improvement over that. We've got these ribbon of buttons here that we can change up what's on the screen. You can see I have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto wireless. My phone is not plugged in, so that is quite nice as well. We also have some of the best voice command that I think I've ever tested on a car. So I can say to it, "Hey Lexus." Of course, while I'm trying to film, it doesn't work. "Hey Lexus, tell me a joke." You know what's funny? It worked brilliantly up until the time where I tried to show it a camera. I guess it gets a little bit camera shy, but you can also click this little search bar to trigger the voice command as well. "Tell me a joke."
"I don't trust stairs. They're always up to something."
See, so it can tell you a joke, you can change the temperature, you can actually ask it things that it would only know using the internet, like it can actually search Wikipedia. So if you need to know what the capital of Idaho is, like Idaho, it'll tell you. So that's pretty cool. I think that's very useful. We've also got this really cool 360-degree camera. I'm going to go ahead and show you. So I'm going to drive forward just a little bit here because I want to show you something cool that this camera system will do. So I put it in reverse, and as you drive along, it's actually going to record like what's underneath you, so you can actually see there's that parking line underneath the car. So it almost acts as if the car is invisible. How cool is that? That is a really cool function that you'll see on a lot of Lexus models now. I think the LX also has that as well. Very cool function there. So I'm a very big fan of the screen and the technology here. I also like the layout here of the NX. So we have our drive mode selector here, Eco and Sport. So right now we have our Eco charge power gauge that Lexus likes to do a lot. If I twist it over to Sport mode, we get a standard tachometer, or you can have it just always be this if you want. There's a couple of different modes for this, but I like this one the best. We've got our wireless charger down here, so you can go ahead and put your phone on that, which is quite nice. So I actually have my phone right here, so let me go ahead and put that right there on the wireless charger, and then you can slide it in so it'll stay wireless charging, but then you also have some storage down here, which is quite nice. We've got our USB and USB-C ports down there. We've got our camera and our parking buttons right here. This is our gear selector, so it's kind of like a Prius. You pull it this way for neutral, that way is reverse, and then down is for drive, and then you push P for park. We've got our auto hill hold, traction control. I think this is kind of like an off-road mode. I don't know why you would really want that. And then you have your EV mode, which this is not a plug-in hybrid car. You can get the NX as a plug-in hybrid, but this really just lets you like drive through the neighborhood at like 10 miles an hour on electric only. Not really sure why you would use that often. And then we've got our white armrest right here. You can open it up this way, or you can open it up from the passenger side, which is kind of clever. We've got our panoramic roof, which is optional on this NX, even our quite high trim one. And we also have our digital rear view camera. You can see my camera guy, Austin, who just walked in front of it. So now it's a regular mirror. Now it's a camera. That is optional as well. And I got to talk about the one thing I don't like here on this interior, and that is these steering wheel buttons. You can see they're not labeled, so you don't know what they are until you put your finger on them. So you go ahead and touch like this. And let me see if I can get in a good look at the head-up display here. So you'll see, let's see, there you go. So now it shows me what that does. So that is my cruise control, or if I click this button down here, now it switches, and now I can change what's on this display. And then over here on this side, we have a different set of controls. So right now it is my phone, skip tracks on the audio, or if I push this, now it's modes on the audio, or audio on and off. I don't know what was wrong with just having these buttons just be labeled. And if you don't get that 360-degree camera that I showed you, these buttons are normal. But for some reason, these are tied into that like $1,000 package. They're just a little bit weird, and I'm not a huge fan of how that works. It's just a little bit weird in my opinion. So now we're going to shut the car off, and we're going to wrap up by talking about what's under the hood, because I think that is really important with this NX 350 hybrid. So let me go ahead and hand that back to Austin. And let's talk about what's under the hood. So you can get the NX with one of 4 different engine configurations. So the base NX 250 is a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder with an 8-speed automatic transmission. That's the same that you get in a Toyota RAV4. I haven't driven that, and I actually don't know any journalists that have either, but with only 203 horsepower, that sounds kind of lackluster. I think they really offered that just to sell this at a price. It's like 39 grand. You want to get either the 350 or the 350H that I have here. So the 350H, still a 2.5-liter, but because it has 2 electric motors, 239 horsepower. That's where we start getting into decent power territory, and you're going to get amazing gas mileage, 39 mpg combined. That's fantastic. There's nothing in this segment that's even close to that. You can get the regular 350, which is $500 more than this, 2.4-liter turbocharged engine with 275 horsepower. If you want something faster, that's probably going to be the one you want to get. But I say save the $500 and get this. You're going to love the fuel economy on this. Now, there's also a plug-in hybrid. It's called the 450H Plus. So it's pretty much the same setup as this, but with bigger electric motors. You can go about 39 miles on electric only, and it produces 304 horsepower. So it's the most powerful one of the bunch. It's also the most expensive. It's about $56,000. However, this car, as you see at the NX 350H, is about $42,000 to start. This one that I have is like 55 grand with all those bells and whistles I showed you. So if you're gonna option it as fully as Lexus did this one, I think you might as well get that plug-in hybrid model, because you get a $7,500 federal tax credit back from the government, and you get more power, and it's quicker, and you get the all-electric range. The problem is, you probably can't find one at your dealership because they're all pretty much sold out. I found like 8 of them for sale in the US, which means you're probably going to be stuck with this one, which with 40 mpg, it's not really such a bad thing. So that was my deep dive of the 2022 Lexus NX 350h. I really hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, please leave us a like. That would be very helpful towards helping us make these videos. Subscribe to our channel and ring the notification bell to be alerted of our latest videos. I'll see you next time.